On a bookshelf in my cluttered office is a small hardcover book I was given in 3rd grade. The well-worn book nestled in between my Dick, Jane, and Sally primers is titled, I Am an American. This book was brand new when I was assigned it on the first day of school in 1963. The pages were still crisp with firm, uncreased edges, the spine still stiff, opening it for the first time. The book was new, but the ideas as old as our country, with the knowledge that this country has something different and unique and worth fighting for, something to brag about. And once upon a time, and not that long ago, we did brag. Today, I long for that. In our history books of the early 1960s, America was the shining beacon, the greatest nation, and the embodiment of democracy, freedom, generosity, and technological progress. America's great wealth and power required us to provide not merely a moral example, but also moral leadership for the rest of the world. We were racing boldly and confidently into the future. That fall, my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Patton, a large battle axe of a woman who seemed ancient but was likely younger than I am now, handed out these new books. Sitting at my antiquated wooden desk, I flipped through the book as the teacher read out loud to us words that stayed with me long after that class. The book, she began in her booming Margaret Dumont voice, explains our country's creeds. Nearly 200 years ago, she read, the great and wise men of our country met and wrote down the things Americans believed. They wanted the whole world to know what this new nation believed about the way people should be governed. They called this the Declaration of Independence. These wise men had ideas that were different from the rest of the world. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. What did it all mean? First of all, it means that every person has the same rights as everyone else. No one is born with the right to rule others. No one can say, I am the captain, whether you like it or not. After those wise men wrote that letter, telling the world that they were going to start a new nation, they knew they needed a set of rules to live by. They called it the Constitution. When you read the Constitution, you see all the things that were written in it to protect me and my right to live as I wish. We elect our officials, that the rules we have made are kept by us all. Americans are proud of what they have built. But nothing means more to them than the freedoms they have won and written into the Constitution. After she finished reading, Mrs. Patton asked each of us to memorize a passage from the book about what being an American meant for each of us. In a few weeks, we would each recite it to the class with our parents in attendance. Painfully shy, I panicked at the thought of speaking in front of a group. I read through the book and found just the right passage of what being an American meant to me. It made me think of so many things. For weeks, I practiced with my mother the passage I had chosen, often sitting at the Formica table while she peeled yellow onions or scraped russet potatoes. These words, these pictures, these beliefs would be seared into me for the rest of my life. On a chilly Friday afternoon in early December, dressed in a brand new red plaid woolen jumper, I nervously stood in front of the class. My blonde hair may have been Breck shining clean, but my cheeks burned as red as my jumper as I recited the passage I had chosen. As I stood before the class and recited the words, the flag hung behind me next to a glossy black and white photograph of President John F. Kennedy. It had only been 2 weeks since our young president had been assassinated. The first cracks in my mid-century American dream had begun. Yet I trusted that these important words I memorized of what it meant to be an American were immutable. Nervously, I looked out at the classroom with its rows of perfectly aligned desks filled with familiar classmates and their less familiar parents seated on our small wooden chairs. Suddenly, my voice was strong because I knew I was speaking about something profound. What I could not know, what I did not know, was what the future held. I am an American. If you ask me what that means, I'll answer. I respect my neighbors and deal with them fairly. I can speak without fear and act without shame. I can work as I wish and play as I wish, and do as I wish and pray as I wish, so long as I'm decent and true. My school is free and my church is free. My country's laws are made for me, and being an American, these things I must do. I must speak the truth as I see the truth. I must play by the rules that are fair. I must not laugh at another's ways or take more than is my share. I must do no things that will cause me shame. I must walk tall and brave and free. And I must help others to have the rights that mean so much to me. We the people, we will make sure that we remain free and that our children and our children's children are free forever. I am one of those children's children they were thinking about. I am glad they made the rules to last till I came along. I am going to help keep them for those who come after me. I am an American. There was a hush when I finished, and then all at once the parents clapped loudly. I looked at the smiling audience filled with the greatest generation, all beaming, none more so than my own mother. For over 80 years, that was the America we knew. Under Donald Trump, that America, my America, has been betrayed. Cruelty has replaced humanity as the Congress Trump has hijacked pulled the plug on health care and food assistance to millions, both here and abroad. It marked the end of social compassion and the rise of an era of authoritarian oligarchy. Where is that America that I pledged allegiance to? Beginning in kindergarten, 1961, I spent every morning for the next dozen years standing tall next to my school desk with my right hand over my heart, pledging allegiance to a country that promised liberty and justice for all. We may not have realized our ideals fully, but we always move to correct them. My hand grew as did the country. I watched it change, stumble at times, but grow. It's what I expected of America. That was American exceptionalism to me. our ability to constantly move forward, help those in need, expand our knowledge, and right our wrongs, we would always strive to do better. That America is gone. Today, our neighbors hide in fear as masked men roam the streets of our city and towns like the Gestapo, scooping up mothers, fathers, and children, someone's sister, brother, husband, or wife. Our police state is now fully funded. My America is gone. Trump's golden age is not golden for we, the people. Even as I move forward chronologically, our country is moving backwards as a society. The social welfare programs put in place as guardrails that I believe would protect me in my old age are slowly being dismantled. There will be nothing golden about my golden years. I am crying for America. Today I cry for our country, for my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents who came to this country filled with promise, all who loved this country, fought for this country, and believed in the possibility of America. I cry at my father's grave inscribed with his favorite saying, "It's your America," a phrase filled with boosterish post-war possibilities of the greatness of our nation, where anything is possible. No, Daddy, it's not my America. The rights that meant so much to me, and it brings me to tears. I am an American, and for the first time, I am ashamed. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, it's mourning in America. I mourn for our country. I cry for the millions who will lose the safety nets so primal to being an American. I cry that children and babies will go hungry. In my America, where is that America that I pledged allegiance to? I cry for that patriotic flag-waving, red, white, and blue, idealistic 7-year-old girl who believed in the inherent goodness of America as she lived out her parents' post-war American suburban dream. Now, on our 250th Independence Day, we are being stripped of our freedoms and rights. This is not my father's America. This is not my America. This is not our America. And it brings me to tears as an American.